One. Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast. We got Mr. Vijay, Mr. Andrew Knight, and of course, Dr. Stevie Street. How you guys doing?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Well, we're still carrying on with our Valentine's weekend and our albums of love. You know, the love master himself, the one of the greatest lyricists of our sort of music generation, which is Mr. Babyface. So it'll be interesting to. I actually thought this was his debut album, and then I got schooled by actually he had one that came out before, didn't do well. This blew up, and then they reissued that other one. But anyway, I start off with you, VJ. I mean, Stevie and I were there together yesterday. So how has your week been?
Yeah, I've been busy. I had meetings today. They went well. People want to have meetings on Sunday. Okay, then. So I had that. I've been listening to this album all for the last since it was decided that we're doing this. And I'll be honest, I did not know this album. I really didn't know this album. I know the songs, the singles.
Hey, Derek.
I know the remixes. And I think Babyface, LA and Babyface had bigger songs on other artists' work. And I think this kind of felt like leftover bits. Not the big songs, not the big singles. They're fantastic. But for the main part, I think this album didn't quite resonate with me like his 86 project, which had I Love You, Babe, which is probably the most perfect song that Babyface has ever done, or arguably one of the most perfect songs he's ever done. The only other thing I wanted to say was we got some sad news a couple of days ago that Gene Allen from Gene Groove Allen from Groove Be Chill passed away, and you know how some like death is a part of life, and I get it, but some deaths just impact you differently. And he was a very kind man, and I just wasn't expecting it. He was too young. It's just madness. So that was just very sad.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Vijay.
Yeah, it's definitely it's amazing how I think somebody else passed away. I just can't remember right now, but it's definitely a sad thing that young age and people are passing so seemingly so young.
I only remember one track from Groove Be Chill
with Dave Hollister.
The one that was on the Master Cuts. Remember
Swinging Single?
Yeah.
Featuring Dave Hollister, and that was that's 1990. And people forget that Groove Be Chill were on Uptown Records, so they were there from the beginning. So Groove Be Chill.
I think I've got the album somewhere, but I didn't play it much. Just that track.
It's not bad. It's not bad. There's some good bits on there. Hip Hop Music is a good song. That was a single as well. But yeah.
Okay.
That's it from me.
Okay. Before I get to you, Andrew, Derek, Minneapolis, we hadn't seen you in a while. Welcome. Our good friend Ed Mack. Welcome. Anyone else joining us, please put a comment so we can shout you out, knowing that you're with us. And remember, you guys make the show alongside of us. It's a collaborative community. So drop the comments through. As you can see in the ticket below, it is Babyface Tender Love album. We're going to be going through our top 10. Andrew, Mr. Knight, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been really good. It's been a great Valentine's weekend. Girlfriend's in town. So, spent some time on the Strip, went up to the Paris Eiffel Tower thing. And
so that he lives in Vegas, guys. When he talks about the Strip, he's not talking about a club. He's talking about like the Vegas Strip. You know, this is a global audience, so you need to make sure that people don't.
Thank you. That's a Las Vegas Strip. And there's a nice romantic evening on top of the replica of the Eiffel Tower. But it's great that we're able to kind of celebrate this year's Valentine's Day as not just a day, but an actual weekend. Because I do feel like it was a weekend. It was Friday, and when it rolls over into the day, We're going to definitely talk about one of the most, I guess, romantically themed albums of the 80s, and certainly looking forward to that. I think Babyface has always been, the lover dude, and not a lover from a R. Kelly sex you down type thing, but more of a lover in that it's tender, like tender lover. That wasn't even planned, but I just did it, so it's just gentle, tender love that we're going to celebrate because frankly, that's something that we probably don't see a lot of these days, I think, in music. It's something that's missing, and I think that it's worthy of celebration, and what a better time than now. So I'm doing great, Nnamdi.
Okay, really great. Music tips and reviews with JG. Welcome. My dear friend Tanya out to Germany. Welcome. Nice to see you. I know you're an hour ahead, so hopefully you can stay as long as possible. Mr. Stevie, how have you been, sir?
Oh, fantastic. I'm still buzzing from last night's podcast with Miss J and yourself on the Toni Braxton. That was a real good podcast. Still trying to eat a lot of my Valentine chocolates that from my side chicks and my AI girlfriend, of course. But if you watch the episode back from yesterday, you'll see all the gifts that I was given. I got them all out, So yeah, fantastic. Much like Vijay, I didn't, in terms of this Babyface album, I didn't really listen to it back then. I was just buying the singles. I know the 4 singles from it very, very well. So this album has been, of the last month, well, the last time we decided to talk about it or put it up for nomination on this podcast, it's been a real discovery for me, this album. It's a fantastic album, some real gems on it, and obviously we're going to get into it. So yeah, good call, Andrew, to pick this album.
It's been an education, that's for sure.
It definitely is. I mean, I think, there was, it's fun because I had my list. I watched it earlier. No, Tom, this is live. Oh, you watched the
Toni Braxton.
Okay. This was. I had a list that I printed out the list and I had my little side notes on it, but unfortunately, I threw that away and kept the Toni Braxton one this morning. So
you should ask him, Nnamdi, while they're both here, if they had to pick one track, what would be your favourite track from Toni Braxton's debut? I know it's off the top of your head. Could you pick one? What would be your number one track? Because Nnamdi's, what was yours, Nnamdi? It was.
Well, I don't want to spoil it. Yeah, it was. Well, yeah.
Oh yeah, we're going to spoil it out.
Yeah,
No, carry on. Forget that.
Yeah. What would be? Yeah.
No, them two can give the number ones because it won't spoil it. It will spoil us. But them two could probably say what the number ones are because they're not on the podcast, are they?
Am I allowed to include remixes?
It's a song.
Okay, if it's just a song, then it would be "Love Should Have Brought You Home."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If it's a single, then "How Many Ways" remixes just kill me every single time. I'm done.
Okay.
End the podcast. We've talked about one of the greatest songs ever. So yeah, done. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that was number 10 for me on my top 10. So
Love Should Have Brought You Home?
No, How Many Ways?
Yeah.
What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, I would want to listen to the whole album again, right? But I think that the first one that came to me that I actually just like and wouldn't ever hit skip, I just let it play, is probably Give You My Heart, believe it or not. But I think Love Should Have Brought You Home is strong. I think that How Many Ways, especially that remix that R. Kelly did in Summer of '94, was sick. But man, I think I'll just go with Give You My Heart. It's just a very happy song that I never got sick of. Breathe Again gets props. I loved it when it came out, but I got sick of it. So yeah, I'm staying with my first answer. Give You My Heart.
Okay, mine was another sad love song, followed by 7 Whole Days.
But it's one of those albums that any songs that you pick, they're all worthy of a mention. And I found this. I didn't realize I had this. This is it's a promo cassette of Toni Braxton's "Love Should Have Brought You Home." That first album. It's very good.
Wow.
UK. I don't want to derail it, but did you guys talk about the whole Anita Baker thing? Because I read about that in the biography.
She brought it up.
Yeah.
What happened?
No, but it's because I interviewed Daryl Simmons, and Daryl was saying that how they were playing 4 songs to Anita over the phone. So the three of them, him, LA, and Babyface were sitting up on a conference call with Anita, and we were playing Another Sad Love Song, 7 Whole Days, Give Me Your Heart, the duet, and You Mean the World to Me. And Anita says, nah. You know what? What about the girl singing it? Why don't you give her those songs? Like I'm not feeling them. But the lady singing, why don't you let her have the songs? And they just said, okay. And that was how Toni took those 4 songs, did the duet with Babyface, because Anita was supposed to do it. And the rest was history.
Isn't that nuts?
I love that. I didn't know that.
Now, for me, I was like,
great.
I thought, to me, I was like, Daryl, she recognized that Toni had a unique voice and she sounded great. Instead of the way they felt like, oh, she didn't like our songs. Well, I'm like, wait, but she recommended Toni to sing it. So to me, it was like, it wasn't like she just said, nah, I just don't want it. But she said, look, the young lady, listen to her. She's got the voice. Why don't you let her sing it? And that to me was something, she recognized something that they didn't see. Because if they had recorded Toni at first and thought, actually, these are really good with you, Toni, we're just going to keep them. So she recognized. So I give Anita props, even though people thought that she did the song and she was it was a cop out, but I don't think so. I think if you listen to Toni's vocals, you can see why that she really ate those songs up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a great story. The impression I got from what I read was more the former. Like, I think that they were trying to like get this big, because Anita Baker is a big deal, especially even in the early 90s. And they just couldn't. And the demo person just ended up doing the songs, and the rest is history. Kind of the same way I think a lot of the songs on JT's first album were meant for Michael Jackson. He rejected them, and then basically Justin went off with it. And of course, urban legend is Michael and eventually called up Pharrell and be like, "What is this? Like, I could have done that." And Pharrell's like, "I can't like contradict Michael Jackson because that's Michael Jackson," but he's like, "Man, I sent those to you earlier." Like, but beautiful. It worked out in the end.
Yeah.
Those songs were sent to Michael Jackson's people, not Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson's people rejected them. I think that's where
But Rodney said Rodney was still doing the Invincible album. I mean, they were doing it for 3 years, so Rodney was hearing them, and Rodney was saying, "Yeah, Michael's not looking for those types of beats that sounded like how he wanted. He wanted something different." But it's different when you do hear it later on. But But as I said, I think Toni, what we just say, and I know we're moving on to Babyface, but they're like brother and sister, was that she's maybe she doesn't get the props like say a Mary does, because she's outsold Mary, and she was our version of a Celine Dion kind of. She can straddle both R&B and contemporary, out of contemporary, sell the records. On Break My Heart really took it to another level. But I just think, I don't know if she gets the props to like, man, woman, you really did something different. You took what Anita did and took it to a different level and, really had a lane. So, yeah, that was really a celebration of Toni Braxton yesterday and Babyface as well.
And Andrew, I think you recommended this book to me, Sing to Me by L.A. Reid.
Yeah, that's the one.
I cannot recommend this book enough. If you are a fan of L.A. and Babyface's sound and you love their stuff, I don't know if the rest of you, Nnamdi, Stevie, you've read it, but it's 100% worth a read. And I've just share one little fact from that came up that I didn't know about. Apparently, Pebble's girlfriend was meant to be for Vanessa Williams, but then LA had a crush on Pebbles, as you do, and he said, "I'm going to give it to her." And Vanessa Williams has not spoken to LA and Babyface since then.
I have heard that story.
Well, okay. When but in the interview that he did on a podcast, LA Reid, he kind of expanded it slightly to say Pebbles had a sort of a rich guy who was looking after her, paid them triple for the track. So there was a little bit more money that came along for that. Yeah, for the so he kind of expanded on it. I mean, he even explained why they didn't do Karen White's debut album. Did he put it in the book? Why he didn't? Because they did the Karen White album, blew up. They were supposed to do the debut album, the second album, and they didn't. And then Jimmy and Terry did it. And when I interviewed Karen White, she thought that actually they didn't do her follow-up album because they were trying to save all the material for Toni Braxton. L.A. Reid said he was going to a Warner Brothers function with Babyface and Daryl. They were going for Warner Brothers function. Pebbles was his girl at the time. They went in. Then, what's the guy's name did the Fresh Prince, the Warner Black executive? Benny Medina stopped him and says, "Hey, what are you doing? You can't bring Pebbles into this place because she's from MCA and this is a Warner stuff. And Karen she's our rival." But he was like, it was like, no, you can't bring her in. He didn't explain why. He just said, you just can't bring her in. And he said, well, if she can't come, I'm not coming. And egos meets egos. They both said, well, F you then. And they both left.
Wow.
And that was it. Benny just said, well, you're not going to take any more Warner artists. And then that was how that's why they didn't work with Karen's second album. And then he said 10 years later, he and Benny met up, and Benny says, the reason why I didn't want you to bring Pebbles in because all the execs were here, and Karen we were celebrating Karen, and Pebbles was a direct rival at the time. Oh, yeah. And you just couldn't bring her in because it was like, but then, as men where they just didn't talk it through, and then was like, well, F you, and that was it. So, and it's strange. I mean, LA and Babyface, Jimmy and Terry are amazing producers, but they did the magic that LA and Babyface had with Karen.
You're talking about alternate universes and what could have happened. And it's interesting. Do you remember the Babyface and Teddy Riley, was it Versus thing?
Yeah.
And Teddy said something to the effect of, I didn't know how to contact you, but I wanted to join LA and Face's production team. And I found that fascinating. Can you imagine a world where Teddy Riley was one of the producers with LA and Babyface and Daryl Simmons, etc.? That would have been an interesting alternate universe. I'm just saying that. I
don't know how long that would last though, because he was because it was just so different types of people. We think about the clean cut of LA and Babyface. The songs, whether it's with Karen White or The Boys or Tevin Campbell, they just had a very clean sort of image, middle class kind of image. And Teddy was very street, and then Jimmy and Terry, were funk. So you can see how the three sounds are very distinct. And I can imagine Babyface writing a track and Teddy doing his producing it. But it would have been interesting just to see them collaborate on stuff. They've only collaborated, Teddy and Babyface have only collaborated once. Do you know the track?
Tony Thompson. Tony Thompson?
No. Well, that was Babyface written and Teddy remixed, but they did a Wright production on one track.
They did it recently. There was a track they did recently for Bobby Brown 5 years ago.
Just like Bobby, yeah. You know, that when the Bobby movie, so they both produced, kind of wrote and produced the track. Unfortunately, the track didn't. They had some of a little fallout during the thing, and so it just didn't get promoted. They didn't do a video, just like Bobby. But little history there. Yeah, Marco said they wouldn't have worked out. LA would not have worked with Teddy.
The two things I'll say really quickly about, the book, and I just want to go back and read it, is the funniest thing I remember from that book, and it is related to Babyface, obviously, was, of course, the very first single, Knocked Out by Paula Abdul, was an LA and Face recording. And I remember there was something in the book where I think, Paula had to hide somewhere because Pebbles had shown up to L.A. Reid's apartment, and it was just kind of like, I don't think everything was going around, but Pebbles was a very kind of jealous person. So L.A. was nervous about that. And I remember Paul was like, yeah, what what's up with your girl? Like, but it was definitely like a weird kind of scary situation, number one. And then number two, as far as, let's not forget that Karen White ended up marrying
Terry Lewis.
So that was always my assumption. Like once, there's like a marriage involved, like the allegiances are going to naturally switch. And then of course, Jam, I've read or heard, he literally says that was our romantic was literally us aping, the LA and Babyface sound. And I thought they did a good job of it. I definitely get that whole LaFace sound from there. And then the last thing I'll say, because I love to just go off in streams of consciousness here, is that, like you guys have brought up earlier, there was kind of like a pre the future Teddy sound, and then there is a post future Teddy sound. I think for me, there is a Tender Lover Babyface sound, and then the For the Cool in You and everything after is a different sound, and I'll just say for the record, I absolutely prefer the earlier stuff. So basically I feel like romantic might have been like the bridge between the For the Cool in You era and then the Tender Lover era. So anyhow,
definitely, we touched on that last night. From about 93, there was a definite change in sound.
Yeah, you could tell. I mean, when I interview producers, I say, who's your top five? And they say Babyface. And I say, are you talking LA and Babyface or just Babyface? And then it's like, oh, because they're two different, the Babyface that did Wait to Exhale and stuff is completely different when he was working with Daryl and L.A. Reid before L.A. Reid left. And, L.A. had the drum sounds and that vibe. So two different sounds that we had from Babyface. But yeah, even Jimmy just finally said, Karen, why are you with us? You should be with L.A. They didn't feel like, even though they were married, Jimmy and Terry, they didn't feel that they were the right people to do the sounds at all. Miss J, welcome. Joan and the Reckless, welcome, Miss J. Cheryl Hilton has landed. Welcome as well. Okay.
Yes, good evening to everybody tuned in.
Yes, please comment. Please be part of this discussion because it is the four of us with you guys.
Drop your top as we're counting down our top 10. Please count down go in 10. Put your number 10 in your number. That's if you got the track list with you. So we'll get we'll see what you think, and you can see what we think of the album as well.
Miss J. Okay, so well, let us start then.
Hit the like button as well. Hit the like, smash that like button so it goes up the algorithm. Please, more likes.
Yeah, okay. Just as we start, let's just do. I'll start with you, Andrew, because this is. Can you just give us an overview of Tender Lover as an album?
Absolutely, an overview of Tender Lover as an album. So this is going to be a little just personal for me. So I always bring up growing up in Atlanta, Canada, and not really being exposed to what
Atlantic, Canada.
Okay,
I was thinking, wow, they got to
Atlanta. They got it down south. So for me, again, like I'll just call it what it is, Black music or urban music, whatever you want to call it, was hard to get, and you had to kind of really look beyond what was available on the radio. So I remember that summer of, actually, when I bought the Bobby Brown album, Don't Be Cruel, and I was reading the liner notes, I would see this Babyface, LA, Babyface. So that name just was like stuck out to me, right? Then all of a sudden, this Calling All Cars song comes out, and this, I'll just say it, like for me at the time, racially ambiguous looking dude, like singing, it's no crime, like, with the straight hair, but he's all like, and I'm like, so that's like Bobby Brown's like muse, like that, or his producer, like that's his guy. And I'm realizing that, so I felt like he was more alpha than Bobby in a way, because this is the guy who actually gave him all his music, but now I'm doing it myself, So, and It's No Crime was actually I think it was a big hit in Canada. It blew up. So then Whip Appeal comes out, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing songs like Soon As I Come Home From Work, and then I get the whole album, and it's like nothing but just, the whole backside of it is nothing but slow songs that I thought were all like heavyweights, heavy hitters for that time, because they were very much in the vein of, say, Ready or Not by After 7, which was also a huge hit. Mm-hmm. So this is basically the nucleus. This is like the ground zero of the LA and Babyface sound. So overall, I feel like while the fast songs, in my opinion, were not that good, but that's not really, in my opinion, his lane. Overall, I just felt like Tender Lover was a grand statement of what the LaFace sound was. So me personally, I do think it's underrated, by the way. I think that you have to be a big fan of the New Jack era to even know what this album is. I think that most people who aren't major New Jack fans only know It's No Crime and Whip Appeal. And if you're definitely more of just a mainstream music lover and not really an urban music lover, you probably know Whip Appeal, because that was the one that was like kind of the crossover, like Casey Kasem's Casey's Top 40 song that was on.
Yeah, I used to get that in Nigeria.
Right?
Casey, yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, this album I'm super excited about. Not as excited as Heartbreak was. Sorry, Heartbreak haters. But I am excited about it, and I'm wanting this to be a great podcast, because my 13, 12-year-old self would want nothing less. It's an honor to talk about this album right now.
Vijay, what about you? Any overview on it before we get
of this album?
Yeah, your thoughts of it. Yeah.
I didn't know the album. I didn't know the album, but I did know the singles, and I loved all the singles. Very good singles. There is one song that I've been listening to a lot since we decided to do this, and I don't know how this has not been on my radar since this album's come out. It is a massive discovery for me, and I'm so excited to have discovered one song off this album, and it makes it quite high up on my list, and I can't wait to talk about it. So we will.
Okay. Stevie, what about you? What was your thoughts, memories of this album?
I've just thought of something now. It's only just come to me now what I thought back then. It's just hit me. Might upset you. This might upset a few of the listeners. Obviously, I'd seen the name Babyface on the back of a lot of records I was buying, produced by Ellie and Babyface. And then when I actually heard the guy sing, and you got to remember that era had some very strong singers, male and female. And I heard him, and I just thought, I'm not saying he can't sing, because he can sing, but looking back, I remember thinking, it's not that strong, is it? It's just not. It's not really a strong vote, you know. It's not really. So I only knew. I didn't listen to this album back then. So there's 5 tracks on this album. Half of this album I just didn't know back then, because I didn't listen to it. I only really knew the singles. But like Vijay said, it's been a rediscovery of this album. It's a fantastic album. Great songs on it. I mean, you could hear these certain songs. You think, well, I bet this was for so and so, and I bet this song was for so and so, or I bet this was for Bobby Brown, or I bet this was for After 7, or so. It is very similar. But like you say, playing devil's advocate, was his vocal strong enough? I mean, looking back now, I've got no issues with it. But I'm thinking back then.
Stevie, I gotta say something. So as you know, I was never a fan of the Unk sound. I was more of a fan of the Young sound as far as like the vocals, right? So I was, MJ, I was like Troop, I was New Edition, and I felt like, Babyface was in that category. And one thing that always kind of annoyed me back in the day, it could be a me thing, but when I first heard the song Feels Good by Toni, to me, it sounded so much like Babyface. I felt like their voices were very similar on that track. And I think of Raphael Saadiq as a very strong singer. Raphael definitely got a more, like, his voice is, they're similar, but they're different and they're distinct. But on that song, I think if Babyface sung Feels Good, it would work.
I'll counter that. And the story is that there is a reference demo of Babyface doing Every Little Step for Bobby Brown. There's no way you could allow that to be a Babyface single. Has to be Bobby Brown.
Agreed. That I agree with.
It's just, to me, that sums his vocal up for me. He's a referencing. Gosh, it's hard.
Oh no, but I would say
you've hit the nail on the head, and I don't mean it with any disrespect either.
I don't. I'm just I'm just putting it out there. He's just putting it out there.
You guys know the Michael Jackson song On the Line?
Of course.
I'd have to hear it.
So Michael Jackson On the Line is produced by Babyface for when he had ECAF Productions. Yeah, so it's a little bit later than all of this stuff that we're talking about. And I heard Babyface's vocals on that with Michael Jackson, who is obviously the singer's singer, like maybe the best ever. We could argue that. And I came to a conclusion with that. Babyface is arguably one of the best background vocalists ever. And I mean that with the utmost respect, because Babyface adds so many layers to that song, and it just fills out that song perfectly. He is
That I agree with.
the perfect background vocalist. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah,
I hate to bring it up, but it just caught, and I thought, can I?
No, Stevie, honestly, I'll say the vibe and comments, they're agreeing with you. So I know to just kind of like chill and let people have their opinions, because there is performance.
Do I want this album out there? Of course I do. Of course, we've got a gem here. I'm so thankful this album now,
Yeah.
I mean, I would say for me, this discovering this. I remember It's No Crime and Tender Lover. I think it was Bobby was so big that I was like, oh, who's Bobby rapping with? That was my sort of thing. But this was the time when I actually started to discover writers, producers. Teddy and Fantasy was the main thing. But then, connecting the LA and Babyface, the sound, like, oh, they did the stuff with the boys. They did the stuff with Bobby Brown, the Karen White, and so that became my fascination. Now, like Vijay, I knew the singles. I'm listening to the album now, and there's some songs I'm like, oh, that sounds like stuff that the boys would have sang, But also vocally, when the second half was the ballads, and I think he got better singing ballads in a range that fits him, Babyface, when he did his, when I See You Smile Again, much better singing than when he had the ballads in this album. I think in this album he was trying, but he didn't have the same, so sometimes you can listen to his vocals, think, oh, okay, it's a little too much, because you watch him on When I See You Smile Again, and I can't remember some of the other ones. And he got better at singing the slow ballads at a nice little tone. But it is an amazing album, and it is the fact that the Lovers' first debut album didn't do well. They still trusted him. Came out with this one, it blew up. Did 3 million. That's big numbers for solo artists back in the day. And it felt strange that he was one of the greatest producers and songwriters, but he was still doing his own stuff. Much props to him. But yes, so we're not
bring
dishing
up Melodic's comment, please, because it backs up what Vijay was saying a minute ago.
100%. Like,
bring that comment up.
Babyface on Take a Bow. Oh my God, how good does he sound?
Perfect example of what you were saying before.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. Melodic gets it. That's exactly. And I think Music Tips and Reviews with JG says something similar. Background vocalist, you cannot fault him. Incredible. He adds a different gravitas to everything. It just lifts up the song completely.
Yeah. But I mean, I did remember when Face did an interview, and he spoke about actually how he's always the demos. He's always does the demos. He's always sitting in the background. We talked about it when we did the Toni stuff, and I'm like, how the backgrounds made the songs, how it almost felt as if she's saying something and they're like echoing like in her her ear, the way the backing vocals are part of the track. But as I said, Face got better at singing his ballads in later albums, and that was just a difference than with this one. Every time I close my eyes was looking for Ruther originally.
I can hear it.
But I see vocally he's better singing that than he did on the ballads of this one. But I think that's just learning your range and stuff. So I mean, right now I have every Face album. I never had the Tender Love album, but I had every solo album post in the 90s. Yeah. Okay.
Could have done without the track with Eric Clapton though, but
No, I actually did like that.
Oh dear.
I actually like that. Yeah. I mean, I think faced with that, I think that was him. That was him really, when he was on his own after LA, he sounded much better. I just thought that's what I thought. I mean, that was just my opinion stuff. But anyway, let's start celebrating Tender Lover, and what makes our number 10. So I have no problem starting, and Vijay did Stevie, and then finish with Andrew. So my number 10, and I wish I had that on my sheet here, is where there's only 11 songs on the album, so it's not like it could go either way. But my number 10 is Where Will You Go? It's one of the ballads. It's probably the last ballad on the album. I didn't do any of the remixes and stuff. But when we're talking about a song that can put you to sleep, it was one of those songs. And it just felt, I think people complain of Keith Sweat being whiny and stuff. And I think when you listen to too many of the ballads, and I think that's why subsequently going forward, they stopped putting all the ballads like that. They mixed them around because you get to the second half and it's like, okay, that's it. Okay, where are we at now? So that was so that's made the number 10. So where would you go? Vijay.
For me, my number 10 is Sunshine. And I think.
Oh, wait! Before you finish, this is what they thought about Andrew. So that's what they.
No. Oh, Irv Gotti has me. I was laughing at what M Max said about the red card, but keep going though.
Okay. Oh, was it? I wonder if Irv Gotti is.
Card, I think.
Okay.
So I've put Sunshine there because, and I'll talk about why I've put other songs ahead of this. It's a little middle of the road for me. I know exactly what LA and Babyface's sounds were like at the time, and they could create much bigger songs. And I don't think this was it. This one felt like filler material, and I know some people will hate that I've said that. It's not for me. Sunshine, number 10. Sorry, my apologies.
Okay.
I might say that a lot today, by the way.
Yeah. Stevie, what about you?
Same as you, Nnamdi. I went with Where Will You Go? It's definitely that hands in the air, like hands in the air, candle in the air ballad type track that I just didn't listen to it back then. I mean, I'll be honest, the next 3 tracks you could put them anywhere between 10 and 8, 10 and 8.
Yeah.
So bear with me. I honestly didn't listen to it back then, and I listened to it again. I need to give it more of a chance, but that's why it's at number 10, because I need to listen to it a few more times. Nice track, but I just don't know it enough. Sorry.
What about you, Andrew? I mean,
I'm bathing myself in psychological holy water from all the blasphemy that's being spewed in this podcast. But I will actually say, and it's actually a bit comforting, man. So number 10 is Can't Stop My Heart. I've noticed 2 people, music tips and reviews, and Mac both said Can't Stop My Heart too. That's number 10. I barely even it's very forgettable to me. So that's at my number 10. And this is going to be a very fun podcast because I think that there's just going to be we're going to be all over the place with this one. It's holy crap.
Oh God.
Yeah, man.
Okay. I think my number 9 is another one of those. I mean, he wrote and produced all these ones, but so y'all know. So this is Miss J, not finding it funny.
We are.
That's not true at all. That's not true at all. LA and Babyface are 2 of the most renowned producers ever. If I talk about 1989 alone, forget Tender Lover, I'll just read this list out because Miss J said what she said. These were better projects, or they had. There's a lot that Babyface and LA did. Karen White's album around that time. Bobby Brown's "Don't Be Cruel" was a year before. A lot of singles off that. including On Our Own, which was like a bonus track on the Ghostbusters 2. After 7, Can't Stop, Heat of the Moment. Jackson's Nothing Compares to You. Bobby Brown, Every Little Step was a single that year. Sheena Easton, No Deposit, No Return, and Days Like This. The Boys, A Little Romance. Paula Abdul, Knocked Out. The Boys, Dial My Heart and Lucky Charm. Karen White, Superwoman, and Secret Rendezvous singles that year. Shalimar had a song that year. Bobby Brown's Dance, You Know It. They had some interesting mixes on that. And Paula Abdul's Cold Hearted. I'm just saying, we love LA and Baby.
He killed it that year. He did kill it.
He killed it, but so it's not that we don't like Babyface. So apologies if you feel that.
Yeah, no, I think so with this album, number 9 for me was Given a Chance.
Wow.
And it's as I said, I think it's, and I think I'm just looking at it, and maybe the top half are the more up-tempo ones, but I think maybe by the time I got to after Whip Appeal, it just didn't, because this is all Face's vocals, so yes, Given a Chance was number 9 for me. Vijay, what about you? What was number 9 to you?
For me, my number 9 was Can't Stop My Heart. I'm definitely an up-tempo person, more than the ballads. Generally, my musical persuasion.
Mac. I love it.
But I would say fantastic chorus, but I think the production was a little less refined on this album, on that track. It doesn't hit you like some of their other work around the same time, and it felt like a leftover track from Bobby Brown's Don't Be Cruel. That's what I felt about that.
Okay. Yeah. Can't stop my heart. Yeah, no. Stevie.
I've gone with the same as you, Nnamdi. Given a Chance. I think it's a stronger track than Where Will You Go. I do like the track actually, but again, I just didn't listen to it enough back then to rate it higher. But I think it's a good song. I think it's a good track.
Yeah,
I made my number 9. Yeah.
But guys, we have to understand there are 11 tracks on the album, and so we've got. So it's not like we're saying, the album was trash, let's get rid of it. We've got.
One track was a prelude. We're not going to.
So we had to put them in orders, but they're all great tracks.
Yeah.
No, they're all on the album, but we just had some that we preferred better than the others. Andrew, redeem yourself.
Yeah, and I hope people in the comments don't think I'm just trying to mimic you guys, because this is my list. My number 9 is Let's Be Romantic. So I've seen 2 people. Yes, I've seen 2 people say Can't Stop My Heart. Number 10. Number 9, Let's Be Romantic. That's exactly where I'm at.
What you talking about, Willis?
What I'm talking about is they're kind of what Vijay said. They're try-hard filler tracks that could have been better for Bobby or somebody else. Yes.
Get the yellow card out. Get the yellow card out, please.
Nah, dude. Like they're stronger. Like Babyface is a lover. He's not a fighter, and he's not like a.
Oh my goodness.
Like he's not a Mac Daddy swaglicious dude. He's a tender lover. And Can't Stop My Heart is just like too hot to handle, too cold to hold, Babyface style. Like, it's just like what? And Let's Be Romantic, same thing. But after that, everything else for me is like legit. So I'm looking forward to 8 and on, because with those 2, I could live without and not miss them.
What you can live without Let's Be Romantic.
Wow.
Okay, you know what? That's a strong statement. That one's decent, okay? But Can't Stop My Heart, I can absolutely
fair enough.
Absolutely let go. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm okay. Wow. Yeah, I'm surprised with that. Let's Be Romantic. I mean, that's one of the blockbuster ones. But anyway, my number 8, and I wish I had. It's almost as if he thought, oh, you know what? Thriller's such a nice track. What if I did my own version of Thriller? And that's what this was. Is it scary? Ghost. I Can't Stop My Heart. Did it not give you that vibe of a Thriller? Is it scary? Kind of the little echoes.
I'd have to revisit it.
Did you not listen to it, though? Can't Stop My Heart?
But it was just like, I mean, it's number 10, man. Like, I was just like, skip. Like, I mean, I listened.
He's skipping songs. Yeah, I mean, I was listening to it. I'm thinking, this sounds like him. He tried to do his own version of Thriller, and it was. but it was better than the other two ballads. So that was number 8 for me. Can't Stop My Heart. I would have been better off without it on the album if need be, and he could have just kept the ballads. But anyway, that is number 8 for me. Let's get romantic. I don't know if we're all listening to the same album.
This is gonna be great.
I might say it's no crime, and oh goodness, I don't know.
Nnamdi, you know what it is? I think there's nuances between how the North American market would listen to this album and how we would have listened to this in the UK, because we would have been exposed to different things.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And I can see that from this list. It's
yeah. I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see the combined list, because
yeah.
But yeah, Miss J was right. The Can't Stop My Heart is like a Ghostbuster type of. If you listen to it, you'd hear those haunting stuff. So you're right. I was thinking that kind of thriller. But Vijay, what's your number 8? It is
my number 8 is Given a Chance. Again, great songwriting. But I don't think the production was quite up to LA and Babyface's work with other artists at the time. That's why I've put it at number 8.
Okay. Even melodic.
It's a lovely song. It does everything it needs to do, but it's just not.
Yeah. I mean, it had to be somewhere. It's almost as if Babyface is watching and he's upset.
Melodic agrees with me. Oh my God, that's brilliant. Okay, I'm not a complete lunatic. Good to hear.
Stevie, what's the way for you?
I've gone with Sunshine at number 8. So one of those ballads near the end. It's slightly better than giving a chance, and it's a lot better than Where Will You Go. Again, it's another nice track. It's probably I need to listen to it more because I just didn't listen to it back then. But like I say, those 3 tracks, they're all placed there because I didn't really listen to them back then. But like I say, on my rediscovery of this album, I like them. They are, nice ballads.
Okay. Mr. Knight.
Mr. Knight. My Kind of Girl. That is my number 8. And I actually like this one. And there's a part.
What?
So
what?
Yeah,
My Kind of Girl at number what?
My Kind of Girl, right? Troop actually did some backgrounds on several of these songs.
Yeah.
And there's a song on the Deepa album called Only When I Laugh. Mm-hmm. And they do this kind of high. They do it on other songs too, but that shows up on My Kind of Girl. So I like that. Maybe it's like an LA, like SoCal New Jack sound that, like, whether it's Chucky Booker, whether it's Face, whether it's Troop, they all were just in that kind of creative bubble. And I think that My Kind of Girl just grabs that. So for me, it's that one. It's more of a mid-tempo actually, but that's what I like about it. It's sunny, it's palm trees, it's driving down Sunset Boulevard with the top down. That's what that song reflects for me.
Okay.
Wow, I'm surprised it's so high up in your list. Actually.
But Vijay has really has kind of clarified how out the European markets, how we listen to the album, and it just reflects in stuff. We're on number 7, and it's funny when I listened to this track after revisiting it, I was like, this doesn't sound like the track that I had in my head. And maybe because the what I had in my head was the one he did with Jay-Z and Foxy Brown, My Sunshine.
Oh.
So I was listening to it and I'm thinking, this is not the track, and then I realized it was a sample of the Alexander Neal song, Sunshine, My Sunshine. So I must say I was a little disappointed when I listened to it that it's not the same Face singing Sunshine like what he did on the Jay-Z stuff, but it was a nice little ballad, a little slow and stuff. It makes my number 7. So that's just the connection there. He sounded better when he sang the hook for Jay-Z on My Sunshine. Vijay, what's your number 7?
I actually preferred the Prelude, but number 7 is Where Will You Go? The Prelude is amazing. Like it's short. I mean, I know people haven't included it, but that is a lovely prelude. And I think, do you remember Blackstreet's Once in a Lifetime? It kind of felt like how that should have sounded. Like Once in a Lifetime should have been a song, and we then found out that it was actually a song. And Where Will You Go prelude could have been a full song. And I know there's a song called Where Will You Go, which is a continuation of that prelude, but it doesn't sound like it's on the same level as that. So Where Will You Go? It promised so much more, so it makes my number 7.
Okay.
It's a lovely song, but I feel it could have been better.
Wow. Andrew, I thought you'd fainted, so you're glad that you're still around.
You're still with us.
Yeah. Music Tips who says Sunshine at number 8. Yeah, I had it number 7. So it's we had to put it somewhere. The good thing is that this is, we're rating 10 songs off of this amazing album. Stevie, what's number 7 for you?
Can't Stop My Heart, which to me sounds like it just reminded me something of one of the up-tempos on the After 7 album, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
But not as good. The song's not. I think the reason why it's at number 7 is because I guess I like the New Jack production. There is a bit of a groove to it. The song's not great. It's another one I didn't listen to back then. So they're all bunched together. After this, though, I do pretty much really rate the other tracks very highly. But yeah, it does sound like one of the After 7 tracks, like Don't You Think, and some of the other up-tempos on that album.
Andrew, what's your number 7?
So I had to because it's Valentine's weekend, I had one just chilling in the spot. So I had to represent the sentiment for this album. So for me, number 7 is indeed the title track, Tender Lover. Now I will say that if it was the remix, it would have been higher. I think the album version is a bit more tame and just kind of generic sounding, whereas the remix has a lot more bite to it. And of course, you got the Bobby rap in the middle, and then even the kazoo sounding things in the beginning. I mind. Actually, I like them. So overall, it was just that Tender Lover for me was, I think it came out around the same time as almost Every Little Step did. So it was almost like this. It was like Tender Lover, Every Little Step, and She Ain't Worth It. I think those 3 came out around the same time. So Every Little Step, Tender Lover was first. Then Every Little Step was spring of 90, and then 89. I'm sorry. Early 89, spring 89, summer of 89. She Ain't Worth It. So Bobby was just killing it for the first half of 89 across those 3 songs. Basically making more tame main singers cooler because he showed up. So anyway, I said a lot about one song. So thank you for letting me show my rose and show my praise and my good memory for the singles run. But Tender Lovers at number 7.
Whatever happened? Talk about a one-hit wonder. What's the guy's name?
Glenn Medeiros. He had a song called "Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You."
Oh, is that him?
That's him, dude. That was him. He was a soap opera star in the U.S. Had that song, and then completely, have you watched that video? The dude cannot dance. It's terrible. I feel like whenever someone is a one-hit wonder, it's because their real stage presence is abysmal. Glenn, if you're watching, I apologize. I'm sure you're a great guy. I really do. But it's Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You and She Ain't Worth It are so different, but She Ain't Worth It was hot. I mean, especially
it was a massive hit. I mean, I because Bobby's rapping on it, and but it was a big track. Yeah. Okay, and okay.
I've got a story about that, and it's still on YouTube about that Glenn Medeiros track. She Ain't Worth It.
Go for it.
There was back then. There was a UK music program. It's presented by Jules Holland. I know Vijay's his light bulbs just come on, and they had guest panelists on, and they review singles that came out that week and whether it'd be a hit or a miss. And it gets to Nana Cherry's on the panel. Right, Nana Cherry's on the panel. I can't remember the other 2, but they play Glenn Medeiros, She Ain't Worth It, to the audience and to the panel. So Jules Holland goes, what do you think of this track? And the audience just go, miss. They all put up the sign going, miss. Nana Cherry, the others, they all slate it. I mean, they pan it so bad. It's like us, now slating a track. And then Jules Holland goes, well, very interesting that, because behind this door here, as our very special guest on the show today, we've got Glenn Medeiros, and out walks Glenn Medeiros. And they're like, oh no. And his face, you can watch it on YouTube.
So bad. It was so bad.
Like,
I have to watch this. That
he's
sounds
fuming.
amazing.
He's fuming.
No,
He wants to
it's
cry. He
horrible.
wants the ground to. You've got to see it on YouTube. I'll send you the
worst
link,
ever, man.
Andrew.
Oh my god.
And Jules Holland goes, you know what? I'm sorry, really sorry, but to console you, here's a painting. Gives him a painting and sends him on his way out the back door. You know
Oh
what I mean?
Lord, have
It's a
mercy.
classic. Poor old Glenn.
Andrew's fainted now. Andrew's fainted.
Oh my god.
But who's the egg on though? Because that was a global hit though.
Yeah.
Who's the? I mean,
I liked it. I liked it. I liked that.
Who's the egg on it? Because that was a global hit though.
You know what? There is an interview with him, and again, he's done a few years ago. He looks completely different now. I think he's left the country, and he's a grown man, and he's.
Can you
it was a
imagine
brilliant
that
interview
was
with him.
why? Like that incident is why he left the music industry. Can you imagine if that was it? I mean, he was traumatized. Like he was like,
Oh my goodness. Anyway, that was a good little that was a good thing.
Where are we up to anyway? What we up to?
So we are on to
now.
number 6. And on my number 6, soon as I get home,
Murdering it.
I'll make it up to you. Oh, it's not the same
Doesn't
version.
sound like that. does it?
No. Oh, this is soon as I get home. Soon as I get home.
That's better.
Yeah,
Then
so
you sing it, Faith Evans.
I did prefer the Faith Evans version, but this was it was a nice one because he was telling a story. I could listen to the story. I could understand what he was saying about when he gets home. But as soon as I get home, like Mr. M. Mac is my number 6. Nice little chat. It was, it's coming to life by this time. So my number 6 is as soon as I get home. Vijay, what about you?
My number 6 is My Kind of Girl.
Wow.
I think the drum programming is great, but it reminds me a lot of Bobby Brown's On Our Own, and I suspect that it was recorded at a similar time. Very good, and all of the songs from here on are they're very, very good, very, very high quality. I can't fault any song from here on in. There, like My Kind of Girl was great. Can't knock it. And I just wanted to share one little thing. In L.A. Reid's book, he said because L.A. was based in Cincinnati, and I can't remember who told him this. He was told that you're more likely to be successful in Los Angeles by mistake than you are intentionally by being in Cincinnati. And I thought that was one of the coolest quotes ever.
Wow.
And then he moved to LA as a result of that, and obviously he made it very successfully.
Yeah, if you guys had a chance, I mean, I interviewed Daryl Simmons twice, but the first time he does, because he was with them, he met Babyface in high school. And Daryl Simmons was the guy, he was the man, and then he saw Face and heard him sing, and he thought, I'll never be as good as this. And he just says, I need to be right beside this guy, because if he's going to make it, he just put his ego aside and cleaved onto Face. And, and he was there with the whole Bootsy Collins calling him Babyface and, the man-child, and he was there with the deal, but he was part of the deal, but not one of the members. He was still playing percussion stuff. So he goes through the whole journey and stuff. And he's the only one that didn't sign a publishing deal with Solar. So Face says, look, man, we got screwed here. Don't sign. And Daryl owns all his stuff. So, but yeah.
Silent Partner production.
Silent Partner. So, yeah, so definitely. So, I think we just, definitely give props to LaFace and Daryl Simmons. But Stevie, what's your number 6?
I've surprised myself by putting this at number 6. I know it's a big track. It's one of the big singles. I do like it, but the one thing I do compare this to is After Seven's Ready or Not, and I'm so glad that he gave After Seven Ready or Not and didn't keep that and kept this one at number 6. Because imagine if he'd have kept Ready or Not for himself, because After Seven tore that record up vocally. It's one of the best tracks of the 90s. It really is.
Killer.
Whip Appeal is number 6. I love the track. Maybe I didn't listen to it enough back then and appreciate it enough, but I just know it sounds so similar to Ready or Not that I know Ready or Not's better.
Mm.
So Whip Appeal has ended up at number 6 for me.
Oh, okay.
Surprisingly.
You know, another thing that Darryl did say was the fact that when they recorded End of the Road, Babyface wanted to record it himself.
Wow.
He says, "Now I'm going to keep this," and he was like, "No, but this is for the Boomerang soundtrack for Boys to Men," and they had to, they had to convince him. LA had to say, "Come on," they both all had to try and get him out of it. He wanted to keep End of the Road because he actually liked it better when they wrote it, and so that could have been a Face stuff. So, but yeah, that's the thing about songs for other people. I mean, they got to a point where they said, okay, if it sounds good for you, we'll leave it with you. But I can't imagine if he had sang Ready or Not. You can't outsync Yvonne.
No.
Very few people can
Ron
reach his level.
Kills that song. He kills that song. He kills Truly Something Special at the end. I mean, Baby, I'm For Real. I mean, that voice, like the Kevon next to, what's the other guy's name? Who unfortunately passed away. But
Melvin.
Melvin, thank you. Kevon and Melvin together. Oh my God. Yeah, but everything. Anyways, you guys get the point. I'll give you everything. I mean, he's just, oh my God.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. I mean, to think that they were working in a factory and they just said, Face, get us out of here. Get us out of here. Yeah. Okay. Number 6 for you, Andrew.
Number 6 is the first ballad, finally, on my countdown. And in my opinion, is the weakest. My personal opinion is the weakest of the ballads. Maybe we should just settle down and raise a family, a girl for you, and maybe a boy for me. That is how much I love you, because sunshine, you brighten my life. That song is generic as hell. It is the most generic song.
It's pretty high up. That's pretty high up
because it's a ballad. We already know.
How people put that at number 6 and put Let's Be Romantic and the rest.
Yeah, like Sunshine. Like I remember, like that was the moment I knew Babyface had hits, because I remember just listening to that like college radio station back in '90, and all of a sudden this song comes on, and it's like, what? Babyface has another ballad called Sunshine? Like really? Like how many ballads are on this album? Because it just kept coming and coming and coming. Most artists had maybe 1 or 2, maybe 3 ballads at most on an album. And then look at that. M. Mac proposed to his wife with Sunshine. But check this out, M. Mac. Check this out. That song makes me feel grown. I'm gonna tell you guys a personal story. Okay, I have young energy. Okay, I know I do, right? But I'm not a young dude. Do I have any kids? No. Am I gonna get married for the first time? Probably in about a year. Yes. How old am I? Pushing 50. Okay. But when I hear that song, I go, so this is what it's like. Like, this is what it's like to actually just hang up your jersey and like dedicate yourself to one person and be in marital bliss. So that's why I love that song. Well, partially why I love that song. But before, I just thought it's a nice, pleasant, harmless song. Anyone could have done it, in my opinion. But I'm already talking too damn much. I'm going to save the rest for later. But Sunshine is at my number 6, which means that there's more ballads to come. And I did a great job of hiding the hurt at the dissing of Where Will You Go and all those other songs that are definitely higher on my list. And for you guys were like number 10. That was like, what? Anyways, all right.
Okay, so we're down to top 5. My number 5 was a song that first I thought I was waiting for, Too Hot to Handle, Too Cold to Suck. And then there's an element of Down My Heart in this. Can you guys guess what track it is? My Kind of Girl. Because if you listen to it, it starts off, you think it is about Too Hot to Handle, Too Cold to Hold. And then it just, and then you think, oh, it's the voice. So it was in top 5. It was like, okay, and I think I listened to it and I thought, okay, this is this was the difference when LA and Babyface did tracks in the 90s and the late 80s when they were giving them away. It was very upbeat. It was very, very, very innocent, pop, very kind of innocent type of songs. What they did for Roses Are Red and the stuff with the Whispers and the Boys and Bobby and stuff. Very much love, happy, cheery kind of track that you can really feel relaxed with. And this was just almost like, what's a LA Babyface production? My Kind of Girl. That was their stuff there. And actually, if you think about it, this was when we get to the first set. This is where L.A. Reid and Darryl are all credited, but all the ballads is all Face, apart from Whitfield, but all the ballads is pretty much Face. So you can see how I think my taste was influenced when L.A. and Darryl got more involved on the track and gave him some, let's give you some direction. So yeah, My Kind of Girl is my number 5. Nice little up-tempo stuff. Vijay.
So my number 5 is Soon As I Get Home. And I think this production is absolutely stunning. It's stunning. This song is magic. And the way Babyface's vocals sit on this song, the flow, it's just right. It suits Babyface's voice. And that chorus is just outrageous. It's just stunning. So as soon as I get home, now I'm talking about it, I feel I should have put it higher. I can't do that. So my apologies again, but for different reasons this time.
Okay. Stevie, what's your 5?
I've gone with the heavy New Jack. It's No Crime. So we're getting to the New Jack side of the album. I really like this one. There's a lot of good key changes in it. And then you got It's No Crime. Got that bit. Maybe I don't like that bit, but the rest of it I probably do. Yeah.
Okay.
Track for me that.
If I'm guilty of love.
So one of the reasons I moved to Las Vegas specifically was when I went to the Lovers and Friends concert. Then I saw a billboard that said Babyface, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, why is it that all these major artists from my past it's like Tuesday in Las Vegas? Like you just like go see them at any time. So sure enough, last year sometime, I went and saw Babyface at one of the venues. And he opened up with, So Do I. It's No Crime. Dan, Babyface, and the curtains come up, and he comes out in the white tux and everything. Got the dancers behind him, the women, of course. Actually, I think it was women. And anyways, it was slick. And let me tell you guys, that concert was dope because he went through all the hits, including, as you can imagine, like he would sing little segments of like Tevin Campbell. He'd sing Tony, and then when I already ruined it. When My comes on, all of a sudden you hear "Put on your red dress," and then Johnny comes out from behind. He just starts singing the song, and then Johnny and Face take on End of the Road together. So they sing that song for the crowd. So that's why I was like, this is why you live in the place where, it's casinos and restaurants and residencies, because restaurants and residencies, that alliteration. Anyway, because it's like you can see all that like close by. So anyway, that was my long-winded way of saying It's No Crime, like you, Stevie, is at my number 5.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I mean, we're getting. It's going to be difficult, as Melodic just says. My number 4 is I had a friend in college in Milwaukee, and I think she put me onto this song because when he sings, "No one can do it like," it sounds like he says May, and her name was May. And when he says "No one can do it like May," and even if I listen to it now, I'm hearing him say May instead of me, and that is Whip Appeal. Whatever you wanna, yeah. And I think this is the kind of track that Face can still do now. This feels like a track that if he'd done it in the mid-90s, it still would have been as current. It felt like, okay, this was a this track I could see, unlike some of the others that sounded dated, this one could still be sung in the mid-90s and it still would be fine. But Whip Appeal, this is what set him apart. You know, when you watch the video, he's on a Vegas stage with the dancers and everything. So yeah, Whip Appeal is my number 4. Yes. Oh, Marco. Oh no. Vijay.
I think for the Teddy Riley Babyface verses, I think this song was up against Let's Chill, if I'm not mistaken. And it was an interesting one because I couldn't tell which one I liked more. I like Let's Chill. Obviously listen to that a lot, and I don't listen to it so much anymore. But my number 4 is Whip Appeal. It's a brilliant composition. The chorus is as infectious as you like. Love the video. I thought Holly Robinson in the video was a nice touch. But for me, the unplugged version is stunning with Nathan East, After 7 and Sheila E. That's the version that it just feels the vocals are just more heightened. The production's a little bit tighter. It just feels like this whole song comes together a little bit better. And that unplugged version of Whip Appeal is outrageously good. So good. And yeah, Whip Appeal is a great song, and that makes my number 4.
Okay. I'm surprised. People, look at it. We got Impact and Music Tips all saying give a chance. Given a chance. Well, goodness, we are different markets. Stevie, what about your number 4?
I know Miss J's watching this evening. I'd like to know, Miss J, what was your top 10? I know you're back on next week with the Michael Jackson, but what is your top 10? I'd be interested to know. Number 4, oh gosh. See, I remember now. I bought the 12-inch, the UK 12-inch of this, and there was half of this record I was frustrated with, and the other half I loved. But it's at number 4 because of the memories I've got of this record. About a year later, after this record came out, where I was living, they built this new retail complex, and I was still in high school, or that transition between high school and college, and they built a mega bowl there. Do you remember any place where you used to go bowling? And I was talking last night on the podcast about how the younger generation now, when it comes to dating, they're all on Tinder swiping. They're not actually getting out and meeting people. The memory of that was going to a mega bowl with all your schoolmates, meeting girls. The old school way. They just don't have that now, do they? And I get there to this mega bowl. There'd be arcade machines. Mega bowl. There'd be a place where you could get your Pepsi and your burgers. And then they'd have all these big screens playing videos. They were playing Toni, the Blues. They were playing this Babyface track. They were playing a load of US swing. So I'd just be stood there mesmerized watching all these videos. This is my memory of it. But number 4, and is the number 4 is that. I hated that. I hated it so much. It sounded something off a fairground. I thought, and then it go in Tendel, and then Bobby Brown. I was like, whoa, Bobby Brown's in the video. There he is, Bobby. He only does a little bit, and then he's gone. Before for me, what a track! Apart from that.
Well, maybe they were trying to emulate Teddy doing that
green. Vijay, have you got that green UK 12 with the black writing on, with the 3 mixes on?
Yes.
That overlong dub mix, it's just too long. I love a dub mix, but it's just too long. Frustratingly too long,
The dub mix is fantastic.
I feel like what was that ventriloquist with the emu? I feel like emu's going to come out. It's going to come out, and that emu's going to go.
Get Bob out of here.
And I think Nnamdi was about to say something that I was thinking. You were going to compare it to something about
the show where do you know the gadgets? So I'm thinking,
Gadget
in the Doug and Fred show. So I thought
it sounded like that a little, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, to me, I'll just say really quick that Gazoo thing, whatever, that's what reminded me that it was the remix versus the regular version. So I get excited when I heard that. That said, we almost had a full house, but basically And no one does it like me. And no one has the kind of whip appeal on me. Yay. The video version. Keep on whipping on me. We're working on it. Anyways, you guys get the point. Whip on that sweet, sweet loving on me. Keep on whipping on me. You know he does that, right? Anyway, number 4 is Whip Appeal. So that's Nnamdi, Vijay, and Andrew all had Whip Appeal at number 4. Stevie had Tender Lover at number 4. I think that's we had alignment. Like that was
nearly.
Yeah.
And Nnamdi's got his reel there for IG. Were you seeing?
Oh yes.
Now he's very happy that he's got his reel for IG.
That'll make it, I reckon.
Okay, top 3. Okay, this is the serious stuff. I'm surprised you guys had this low. I felt that Karen White had something similar to this track, but it's not like her own track, Romantic. But I just love Let's Be Romantic. Or maybe Johnny Gill had something similar.
Great track.
There's something. I'm just thinking about this. Maybe Johnny Gill had something similar to this, but to me, Let's Be Romantic. It was just the vibe, the stuff. I don't know why you guys just didn't really. You put it low, but to me, that was just. I love listening to it. I just love the vibe and stuff with that. So Let's Be Romantic was my. And I don't know who sang the backing vocals of that track.
There's only one of us that's mentioned Let's Be Rome. Not all. Nnamdi's only one. That's Mr.
Nnamdi. Okay. But does anyone know who did?
The Night's very young.
Who has the CD? Who has the CD? Who did the backing vocals of Let's Be Romantic? Did he have Karen White?
I've got this. You know, it doesn't really.
It says here on iTunes. It says here background vocals, true background vocals after 7. But I don't know how much I can believe that. But I would guess maybe Karen White. I was thinking that, but for Troop and After 7 are on there. So.
Okay. But I just, as I said, this is what we were saying yesterday was about. The one thing that's missing in R&B music is the appreciation of backing vocals.
Yeah.
That almost like you're not hearing the leads. You're not hearing the lead singers having to sing the backing vocals all the time, but almost like almost back supporting you in that. So I knew Troop did some stuff on there and After 7, but I just loved the whole vibe of this track. So that's my number 3. Yeah.
Wow.
Vijay.
I just wanted to make one point Marco made. He said LA and Babyface's sound was very distinctive from Babyface's stuff by himself. Absolutely. That's a very fair comment. And you're spot on. Very different production sounds. I love them both. But LA and Babyface had something different. When they were together, they were mad.
Yeah, it was because LA, it's his drum programming. And Tony Rich, when I interviewed him, he spoke about when he was doing stuff for Boyz II Men, that LA Reid's he programs the beats. And if you think of it though, when you think of Don't Be Cruel and all the stuff that's Don't Be Cruel is probably my favorite LA and Babyface production, but it's really the beats, the drums on that is just out of this world. And that's what LA brought to the table. And I think when he left and it was just Babyface and Daryl, you got the melody, but you didn't get the funkiness of the beats. So that made a massive difference. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. My number 3 is It's No Crime. I love the hook on this. I think it's everything. And I love the dropouts, especially on the remix. The keys are what really carry this song. And I'm an up-tempo guy. Apologies.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
no need for the apologies on that. No need for the apologies on that, Vijay. Big track.
So
that's me.
Joseph is saying, didn't Bobby complain that Babyface's sounds the same? But that's at the Bobby movie, though. I don't know how much when in the Bobby movie when they said, yeah, we want you to work with LA Face, and they look like two nerds in the corner, and it was, and then but I don't know if he complained about it because
So Nnamdi, it's funny you say that because like I remember, and one of the first times, or not first times, but one of the first times I'd heard Jeff Red's name being mentioned actually on like MTV during an interview. It was right after the Home Again tour, and Bobby was talking about the Forever album, and he was talking about how this time I'm working with some real producers like like Jeff Red. He said that and he said because like what does Babyface have, like shoot like he actually said this in the interview, and this is obviously when Bobby's probably not in the best like place because he just got off that tour and whatever. But I wish that interview was like MTV, like whatever, MTV News, and it was just one of those little segments. So I wonder if that's what Joseph is talking about. But I remember that.
Well, I also remember Ted saying he'll never work with Bobby again.
Whoa.
Even though he said Bob was really hard to work with on the Bobby album. Levi talked about, Bob will show up with the strong stuff early in the morning. So it wasn't an easy thing to do to get those vocals and to work on that album. But I think for Ted, when he didn't get his songs were the best on that album, and they started doing Humping Around Good Enough. And so he said, what's the point? And then by the time they got to the Forever album, Bobby was just in a different space, and I think he burnt a lot of bridges with all of them. But I don't know where we got there. I think the same thing.
About the Forever album, I just wanted to say one thing, if I may. I used to work in HMV at Heathrow Terminal 4, and Bobby Brown's album came out, Forever. I didn't mind that album. It's not like the other albums, but I didn't mind it. Tim and Bob, I've got time for them all day long. So it came out, and it came out at the normal price, which was what, $13.99 or whatever it was at the time. And by the end of the week, we'd put stickers on it. So my boss had told me to put stickers on it, and it was in the three for £10. That's what happened to that CD. It really bombed so badly within the week, and I'd never seen anything like that in my life. So Bobby Brown's Forever was not managed well.
Yeah. I mean, and I spoke to both Tim and Bob, and his name escapes me now, but he's the bass player. I can't remember. He wrote College Girl.
DOA, sorry. DOA Allen.
And actually, when you listen to it stripped away, it's actually not a bad album. I just think Bobby was just not in the best. This is when he was rock bottom, so he wasn't promoting it well. Both him and so it wasn't. It's a good, decent album. He was just not in the great space. I mean, but anyway,
it was an odd time as well, 97 to come out with a Bobby Brown. Just a very odd time when that album dropped. I do remember. Kind of R&B sound had moved on
so much at that point.
Yeah, but he came out with what was that? The one the video was Feeling Inside, which wasn't the strongest song. There was some better tracks in there that could have done better on the radio. And Feeling Inside was not the best on that album. So just the Lonely Talking says Bobby took shots at Babyface on VA100 in Atlanta in 2004. And I think if we all realize where Bobby was, I mean, now we can look back and understand Bobby just wasn't in that space. So I think everyone has forgiven him and stuff like that. Face has forgiven Anita Baker. So he's so
all in the past.
Yeah, we Bobby's a living icon right now. Anyway, Stevie, it's up to you.
My top three. Number 3, I think for me personally, this is the best ballad on the album. It's the way it starts. It starts and there's this drop, and I don't know if any of you guys have bought any of the Deal albums, but it reminds me very much of a strong Deal track. I think this could have been a Deal track, but as soon as I get home, I think it's an amazing record.
Brilliant.
The strongest ballad on here, but by a country mile. It is the key. It's a track that soul people who collect soul music will drop the needle on that and play that track. It's a late night soul track. Easily.
Soon as I get home, I'll make it up to you.
No, that's Faith.
Baby, I do what I gotta do.
I've got the deal. If you buy, for those who know the deal, this sounds like a deal track to me. Could have been for the deal.
It's a stunning production, though, isn't it? As soon as I get home, so good.
Oh, you're in another. You're just off in another planet listening to it.
Yeah, that's a proper LA baby.
I can almost see smoke coming from Andrew's head as he's biting his lip like.
Yes, no, I'm holding back. You're right. I was.
Go ahead, Andrew. You're next.
Yeah, man. No, so number 3 is for me, Given a Chance, and I think I like that song.
That high up.
Yeah, that high up. I think I like that song. So Pebbles, her second album, Always, had songs like Stay With Me Forever and Always, like that back half of the album. And I feel like Given a Chance, and even Love Makes Things Happen. And I think Given a Chance has that same kind of, for me, crystalline, like just, it's a very plush, delicate, like wedding cake sweetness song, you know, and the lyrics of that song where he talks about, you know, for no one knows the pain that you've endured. They took the best from you. Girl, I know you gave them all you got. You tried. They played around. You cried. They let you down. You gave them everything you had. They treated you oh so bad, but given a chance, I'll make it up to you. Give it a chance. I'll prove this world was wrong. Given a chance, I give my all to you, and I teach this world a lesson, and I never let you fall. Given a chance. And to me, what that represents is, yeah, I think that bad boys kind of do win in the end, especially when it comes to younger women in love, because they're just trying to figure out what they want. And here he is, boring, nice dude. And there's a difference between boring, nice dude who actually sucks and he's an incel, and boring, nice dude who actually has something to offer, but maybe just needs to kind of just stay the course, be mature, take care of yourself, and then eventually the stuff will work out for you. And that to me is what that song represents. He's a good dude who just wants to show he has had all this love to give and wants to give it to somebody. You know, so to me, Given a Chance is the one as number 3. And it sounds the most different from the rest of the ballads. Now, it's true. Agreed, Mac. Agreed. And that's why I got to move on and basically just do you, and the right thing will happen. But lyrically, I just think it's a very loving song. And musically, I think it just has the same vibe as all those other Pebble songs that I mentioned. So it just reminds me of the kind of person I was when I was younger. And I still think at the end of the day, I'm going to win. So I am winning. I know I am. I'm just being real. You know, when
great review, Andrew.
Fantastic.
It made me want to go back to that track.
I'm listening to that straight after this podcast. After that is the song I'm going back to. And I wouldn't have done that. And the thing you said something interesting there. Sometimes a song makes you feel nostalgic. It takes you back to a particular moment in time. And that's what you just shared with us. And for that, I have to listen to that again. I've missed something. I've 100% missed something with that song.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for making me feel safe, you know, emotionally safe to share myself.
Yeah. Well, we're down to the top 2. And as I said, for me, with this album, because these singles were the ones that I first got exposed to, and I never got the entire album. So some of these tracks were new to listen to. So I really based, you know, as I said, subsequently I got the rest of his albums. But it was more the up-tempo ones, the ones that were of the time. Of course, he was heavily influenced by what Teddy was doing with New Jack Bland. They spoke about how both LA and Babyface in subsequent interviews said when they heard I Wanna, it just they were like, what is this, you know? And so this was their own version of it, and I like it. It's no crime, you know. He did the Michael Jackson stuff where you pretend to be high pitched and then you have your deep voice there. So do I. But I thought this was, this was big for me. It was big when I was in school. It was the up tempo ones, and I say this not because, and I realize now why the ballads, not all the ballads, really made it for me, is because the same thing with the Jodeci album. When I was in boarding school, all that's Forever My Lady, they weren't big in boarding school. It was My Phone Doesn't Ring Anymore. It was all the up tempo stuff were the ones that we all were listening to. I didn't even know those same guys. So with Face and stuff, the only time, because Whip Appeal was on KCK, it was released as a single. That's when we knew about it. But it was, it was No Crime and Tender Love. It was the upbeat tracks that really stood out. And so when I go back to my youth and I remember this track, there's no how I couldn't put It's No Crime as my number 2, because that's how I knew Face when he came out. It was these ballads and stuff. So It's No Crime, number 2. If I'm Guilty of Love.
Be my time.
Vijay, number 2 for you.
So number 2 for me, most people won't agree with this, and I don't care. This is about personal lists.
Yes.
Personal lists they are personal. For me, this song, I would have loved to see it as a single. Oh my God, with the dub mixes, the instrumentals, a remix of this. And that song for me is very low on Andrew's list, and I suspect many others' lists. It's Let's Be Romantic.
No, it was number 2
I
for me.
love this song so much.
For me, I told you, yeah.
So good. I listen to this song a lot in the last couple of weeks, and it's the type of production that resonates with me. Those keys are perfection. It's typical LA and Babyface of that time. And I am so with this whole project, this particular podcast, I am so happy that I now know that song, because before this podcast, I did not know it, and my life has been enriched because of it. Thank you, Andrew, for choosing this album. I found a song that has really meant something to me, so thank you very much.
Yes, yeah. As I said, I loved it too, and it could have been. It was number 3 for me. Stevie.
What was the first single off Ralph Tresvant's debut album? What was the lead-off single?
Sensitivity.
Right. How big was that record?
Massive. It was number 4.
The tempo of it. Right. What you were saying there, Vijay. Imagine, this is where this label Solar, they missed a big trick here. This should have been the lead-off single from the album. Imagine it come in the import shops, an import 12, freshly sealed, instrumental, extended version. Let's Be Romantic. This track is like you say. Why did I not hear this back then? Why I've not stopped playing this for the last 3 weeks.
Me neither. It's I can't stop listening to it.
I can't.
Huh.
It should have been the lead-off single. It would have been massive.
I think so too.
It'd have sold bucket loads. This album, on the back of that track, they missed a huge trick on this track. Should have been the number 1. I was like, I nearly put it at number 1, but I thought I can't because I just didn't know it back then.
Me too. It would have felt offensive to put it at number 1 for some reason. That's what my brain said. But you can't put it at number 1. Although I wanted to do that too.
But there's something about, because the 3 of us, Vijay, Stevie, and I are both in the UK, and majority of the guys. I mean, Mac, I'm disappointed you're here for it, but the majority of everyone else, stateside, are the ballads really struck a chord, and Mac, no comment. But for the rest of us, it was like, wow, this is the kind of.
Maybe it'd have been a DJ hit then. I think the DJs would have all snapped that 12.
Yeah, I think it would have been a DJ hit. I don't know.
You'd have heard it in the clubs. You'd have heard it in all the specialist radio shows. It'd have been, maybe our perspective would have been, we would have thought it was huge because it was a big DJ hit. Whereas, suppose in the States, if they listen to radio, they're going for Whip Appeal and well, there you go.
Yeah.
what a track it is.
It is, yeah, definitely, yeah. No, I can't agree more with that. I mean, what about you, Andrew? I mean, you almost.
Yeah, man. So here we go. Here we go. And go was not said on purposely, but it's where will you go? Where will you go for me is actually my number 2. And there's actually a performance.
Oh my goodness, that's my number 10.
I know. That's why I
You
was
need to
hurt.
sell it to me. Sell it to me, Andrew. Sell like you did the last one.
Going to.
Tell us
So-
what we're missing.
So basically, number 1, there is a performance of that song on the Arsenio Hall show that he did live. And I felt like his live performance of that song was better than the album one because he really goes off, I think, for me, vocally in the end. Now, it might sound like, whiny screams at the end for some people, but to me, it just sounded like a lot of power, and passion behind a mellower kind of guy. I think that lyrically, again, it's about like we started off as simple friends, but she got scared. As soon as love appeared, you turned away. It was just like you were so like, I think we've gone through that. Like we've gone through a situation where it's like there's 2 friends, but she's been hurt so much that she's like, I can't do this. I can't. And he was like, but where will you go? Like, he's just like, who's going to love you like I do? Like, it's just a very, and even the way there's an interlude on that song. And then thanks. Yeah. You saw that performance too, Just. Even like the way there's the kind of prelude, interlude, and then finally that's the close of the album after a song like Soon As I Get Home starts it, and then that song finishes it. It's just like, who's gonna love you like I do? It was just a perfect end to the album, man. Like, I don't know. I just, that song was epic, to me. The where will you go? Like, it's just, to me, it was almost like the grand finale of Babyface's For the Cool and You era, because For the Cool and You and Never Keeping Secrets, I mean, they're great, but to me, they're more like, okay, this is a Babyface who's trying to kind of cross over, and he did with When Can I See You Again. But this song was straight up R&B, School Days, A Different World, Arsenio Hall. I think y'all know what I'm cooking here. Like, this is for that audience, and it was just fire. So thank you for letting me get in my feelings about Where Will You Go.
Okay. Yeah, I think I remember listening to it. I'm thinking maybe, yeah, it just felt like, yeah, okay, I finished the album now. I can move on. and that was the sad part of it because, because it hits us differently. I think there's just so much. Smaller markets have so much to compete with. So what catches us are more upbeat kind of stuff. So this song takes its time, it builds up, and it's like builds up and builds up, and it doesn't get to the point as quickly as I thought I wanted it. Like an End of the Road, or Can We Talk? The music changed, but the music was a little bit more inviting. This one was slow, and we're listening to lyrics and stuff. But as I said, it's from the comments, majority of North American family agree with that type of these type of the suggestions that you have. And Mark, I don't know what side of the Atlantic you're supposed to be on, but it's and this is the fun part of what we're doing, is really just celebrating the music and the album. He's not romantic. No, I am. Of all of us here, I love a ballad. Most of my top 10s are ballads. I just think that Face. So somehow this album, I wasn't really taking his ballads as well, but it's an amazing album. So we're going to round up our top 10 before we hit our number 1. So strange enough, what was number 2 for Andrew was my number 10. Where Will You Go? Number 9 was Given a Chance. Number 8, Can't Stop My Heart. Number 7 is Sunshine. Number 6 is Soon As I Get Home. I'll make it after. Yes, sorry. Number 5 is My Kind of Girl. Number 4 was Whip Appeal. Number 3 was Let's Be Romantic. Oh goodness, just the fact that these other 2 were just really up there. That's why it couldn't creep in. It's No Crime, as I said, it was massive when I was in high school, in boarding school. And then for me, number one, I'm gonna have to, I'm basing it off the video, because as I said, what the video was what we heard on the radio.
Yeah.
And the biggest star in the world at that time, because let's face it, Michael had already done his bad, he's done his tour, so he wasn't doing anything, and Prince wasn't really doing anything. So the biggest star in the world at that time, Mr. Bobby Brown, just seeing him creeping out, and then he starts to do a little rap, and he says, "LA, get fake Bobby out of here." I'm like, Bobby's on this. This guy knows Bobby Brown. And that's why, for me, the title track, and he was known thereafter as Mr. Tender Lover, the Tender Lover Babyface. So, Tender Lover is definitely my favorite off the album, because I just remember the video. Casey, what's the name? Casey
Kasem.
Kasem. He was Shaggy.
Yes.
He was
Clip Jumper. He was Shaggy. He was Clip Jumper and Blue Streak from Transformers, as well as Robin from the Super Friends. I'm sorry, I'm a voice actor here.
Okay. Wow. I mean, if you ever saw his show, we used to get it to Nigeria at the time, and that's where I used to just see the videos and stuff. But yeah, Tender Lover for me, featuring Bobby Brown. I was featuring Bobby Brown because that made a difference. The album version doesn't have Bobby on it, and it makes a massive difference. But it was what I saw, Tender Lover, Mr. Tender Lover, the what he was known for. Subsequently, is my number one. Over to you, Vijay.
So, my number 10 was Sunshine. Number 9, Can't Stop My Heart. 8, Give a Chance. 7, Where Will You Go? I just have to mention that prelude is amazing. That prelude to that song is stunning. Somebody mentioned that a little while ago. 6 is My Kind of Girl. Soon As I Get Home, stunning. Number 5, Whip Appeal. Again, the MTV Unplugged version was the one. Somebody just mentioned that again. Number 3 was It's No Crime. Number 2 was Let's Be Romantic. And my number 1 is also Tender Lover. I particularly like the dub mix. I love the sparsity of it, how it builds up from something where there's not much going on and builds up. Then you have the little bit of instruments dropping here and there, and then you've got a full song. It's amazing. Lovely video with Bobby Brown's appearance. And it's a perfect chorus. And was that the Boys and Troop in that video?
I can remember the Boys. Look, I can't. I don't. Maybe Troop were there. I don't think I
were they on the backing vocals or something?
They were on the backing vocals. Yes, for sure.
Tender Lover, the dub mix for me was it, and the dub mix. I'll leave it at that. Number 1. That's my number 1.
Okay. Wow. Marco says the album track's rated too high. I guess, yeah. But as I said, it's difference between Stevie.
It's funny what you're saying about Tender Lover, because I've just remembered now. I just couldn't understand why Bobby Brown wasn't featured more in the track. I was like, why? This little bit and he's got him out here. What's going on? Bobby? I was like, I want more Bobby. But anyway, number 10, Where Will You Go? Number 9, Given a Chance. Number 8, Sunshine. Again, I will listen to these tracks more.
Me too.
Number 7, Can't Stop My Heart. Number 6, Whip Appeal. Number 5, It's No Crime. Number 4, Tender Lover. Number 3, Soon As I Get Home. Number 2, Let's Be Romantic. Number 1, I found this track insanely catchy. For me, it's a classic from back then. It fits with all the other Babyface songs. It could have been a Bobby Brown. He could have wrote this for Bobby Brown. I'm surprised he didn't give it to Bobby Brown. But it's My Kind of Girl. Insanely catchy track. It's a classic from, you could play again. It's another rolling track you just play over and over again. It's a classic. We're so lucky. We're so lucky to have been in this period and seen these tracks come out and grow up with them. So My Kind of Girl, that's a classic Babyface track for me. That all day, number 1.
Yeah, I was laughing because you said you're surprised they didn't give the My Kind of Girl to Bobby Brown, and I remember Darryl Simmons saying they had to almost wedge Bobby Brown down when they were the recording tracks on Don't Be Cruel. So if you he's been he's been a live buddy for a while. So yeah, but I can imagine they just need to record quickly, let him leave. But yeah, it is another. I would say it's because Darryl Simmons and L.A. Reid were parts of the production, and that's probably the difference. Because if you think about what the three of us did, other than Vijay, the tracks that had the silent partner and L.A. Reid, we kind of warmed to those tracks more so than a track that just had Face just writing, producing on his own. And so there may be a sound thing that we kind of warm to. But drum rolls down to Mr. Andrew Knight, top 10.
All right. Top 10. All right. So number 10 for me is Can't Stop My Heart. Number 9, when you guys talked about Let's Be Romantic being like sensitivity, now I got to listen to that song again. Number 8, My Kind of Girl. Number 7, Tender Lover. Number 6, Sunshine. Number 5, It's No Crime. Number 4, Whip It Feel. Number 3, Given a Chance. Number 2, Where Will You Go? And number 1 is What Kind of Man Would Leave You Standing in the Cold? He must have been a silly one to sacrifice a pot of gold, because you're the kind of woman that needs a man that's always there. It's not that you require a lot, just need some tender love. No, just needs whatever. I messed it up. But anyway, I give good love. I'll buy your clothes. I'll cook your dinner too as soon as I go home from work. Number 1. Now, looking back on that song, and I've kind of like switched here. Have you guys heard of the term simping? Like, if someone is a simp, someone who is so like, like you were literally rolling over belly up for somebody, because he's talking about basically, I'll buy your clothes, I'll cook your dinner too, I'll pay your rent, your faithful lover. He goes, you're the kind of woman that needs a man with lots of cash, with a stack of major credit cards, and with me, you don't have to ask, right? Now, when I was like 8th grade, 9th grade, I'm like, I want to be that dude. Then by like, when I'm getting older, like, 20s, 30s, 40s, struggling, I'm like, yo, we got to be partners in this. I can't. But now, believe it or not, I'm coming back around. I'm coming back around to like, what? Maybe I can pull it off. Like, So I love, Bros wouldn't feel that song. But now I'm like, you know what though? It kind of feels good to just be able to be like, you know what? I got you. And then the difference is, as long as everything else is in effect, right? It's not like she's with you because you're taking care of her. It's because she's with you because you guys love each other, but you're just trying to build the best life for each other. And you guys play your positions, however that is. So basically, as soon as I get home from work, was like the ultimate, like, if you want to just be that dude, like really be the best you can be for yourself and for your loved one, like that song is a celebration of that mindset. So, it is number 1. It's the one that made me, when I was like, again, young, Babyface, I actually kind of hated on. I didn't really like him like that, because I was just kind of like, why are you trying to like diss Bobby Brown and tell him to get out of here? And remind me that like you wrote his songs. Like, what are you doing, man? But then when I heard, as soon as I get home from work, I was like, dude, you are that dude, man. Like that's something to aspire to. So thank you guys for being such great listeners and letting me just like, again, pour out my heart, because again, of the 4 of us, like I'm the one who listened to it even back then. So that's why it's going to mean a little bit more.
Of course.
But yeah, Girl, I'll Treat You Right. And I'll never lie, and I'll never, never, never mess around. Like it's just like it made being a good dude cool, and not corny. So yeah, he killed it from start to finish.
It's the best ballad on the album by a mile, by a country mile, easily. And it is like you say, it's that caveman mentality. Get your girl, look after her. I get it. But I guess the flip side is you're a simp. I know it, yeah.
I think it's only a simp if you're actually being legit used. I did love what someone said, Broke Brothers call it simping. But it's like, I do think you can get played. But I think, again, if it's real, it's real, you know. And I think
If
it's
the
a good
girl's real, if the woman's real, she'll take, then she'll lap that up. That, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you got some of the ladies agreeing with that. So it's and even Destiny to Be also says yes. What he says, Aaron's into in lyrics as well. So yeah, I mean, I think you know, yesterday when I did Tony's album, I think I could hear the lyrics of Lo- Love Affair a lot easier for me to follow the story. I don't think I could follow the lyrics of Faces singing as clearly as I wanted to be able to hear the story of what he was saying. I just think vocally he just didn't carry it. He didn't do justice to the lyrics as I probably would want him to do. But these are kind of tracks that sometimes when you hear them continuously, your ears open up to, and you can really just appreciate them. You know, my favorite album is Make It Last Forever. Even though not all the songs came out, I can hear every word on that album. So if I was into this album like Andrew was back in the day, I'm sure I'd have a very different perspective of the album. Same way I did on the Bobby album. You know, some of the songs that didn't come out, you know, I preferred than the ones that did come out. I.e., hating humping around and good enough. Because you know, yes, I was thinking that what a waste of time on those tracks. I don't want to get back into the Bobby album. But anyway, great show, guys.
Hold on a minute. Vijay's got a final list.
Okay.
He's got his NJS3 contributors list.
This is a combined list from everybody that submitted their lists. So I'll share that in a moment. But before I do that, I just wanted to mention this.
Yeah.
Wow.
How exciting was it when this album came out?
Oh,
the idea that LA and Babyface had their own soundtrack, it was mind-blowing. And then at the same time, you had Mo Money from Jam and Lewis. Same time period. Very, very exciting. But I had to mention that album.
Wait, DJ, I'm so sorry. I have to do this. Really quick. And if we have to go, we have to go. But did you have a preference? I just have to ask between Mo Money versus Boomerang. I think that's a very famous question. Summer of '92, the showdown.
I think Boomerang edges it.
Yeah,
okay.
Boomerang.
I love both. They're both fantastic. But Boomerang edges it.
We may have to do a podcast about. I don't know. I think Mo Money's stronger.
I think that's a great podcast idea. No, you did it.
Mo
Money versus Boomerang.
Okay.
I like that. I like
and
that.
Why did Teddy not do one? I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
So this is a combined list of everybody that submitted lists to us. So not my list. This is everybody's list. So if somebody doesn't like it, my apologies again. Number 10, Can't Stop My Heart. Number 9, Sunshine. Number 8, Where Will You Go? Number 7, Let's Be Romantic. Number 6, Given a Chance. Number 5, My Kind of Girl. Number 4, Whip Appeal. Number 3, Soon as I Get Home. And I find that fascinating that people voted that above Whip Appeal. I get it. I'm just saying it's interesting.
I get it.
So number 2, Tender Lover, which means that number 1 it's no crime.
Wow.
Okay.
That's your lot.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a different a different take on being able to relate Face, his ballads and his up tempo stuff, and to have this weekend being a Valentine's weekend to really celebrate the one of the greatest songwriters out there. It just gives him it's just no. Yeah, it's been great to be able to do that and continuing from yesterday's Toni Braxton stuff. And yes, we did cover Boomerang, and the fact that he could take a line from the movie, "Love should have brought your ass home last night." Oh, I can write a song to that. I mean, that just shows you that he's just on another level. It's like, oh, okay, that's a nice lyric. That's a nice line. I'll just write a song around that. This tells you that Face is just on a different planet, and he writes about real life issues and stuff.
So one thing I want to talk about as well, really quick, while we're celebrating Face, because I know we're not going to get a chance to do this again, I guess, for a while, is that this album right here behind me is called A Closer Look. And basically it was a remix, really, album that combined hits from Tender Lover and the Lovers album. And there's a song on that one called Chivalry. And it basically, whatever happened to chivalry. And it's like, it's ballad, but I just wanted to give that one, just airtime because I like it. So if you haven't heard it yet and you just want to know what I'm into, oh, you know it. Yeah. Like I love that song. And it's just crazy. It's crazy to me that album came out in 86, sounding like 88, 89 stuff. I felt like that Lovers album was ahead of its time. Maybe that was the issue. I don't know. Anyway.
Do you remember a track by The Deal called Just My Luck?
Actually, no. I'll have to look at it.
YouTube that. Andrew.
I will.
Please YouTube that.
Yeah.
Look at what M Max just said about Let's Just Run Away off Mo Money. What a song, man.
That's what I mean.
Oh my God. Let's Just Run Away. Oh my God. How good is that song? It's perfection. M Max, that song is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've got a long year, so we've got a number of albums to be able to cover and stuff. But guys, it's just under 2 hours, so it's been an amazing thing. But I want to thank everybody who has been part of the show. The comments. There's been a number of you who didn't comment, which is fine. The fact that you were joining us throughout this 2 hours, but we do thank you for commenting and being part of the show because we're bouncing off of what you guys are saying as well, and. Yeah, this is fun for us as it is for you guys as well. Babyface is an amazing artist, and it's been great that we've all been different in our top 10, but we've got one album, 10 songs, and no song is a loser. It's just that we preferred one over the other. Mm-hmm. So I'll get a final word from each of you. Vijay?
Oh, I really enjoyed that, and I think I love that. It was such a varied list, and it gets boring if we're all on the same page. It's so dull. Like we're all on different pages, we're all thinking of different songs, and that makes it different. And we don't have to all agree, and that's okay too. But I love that there was a lot of difference of opinions. I loved it. Very exciting. A lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Bootzilla, thank you for joining us. Yeah, we do this. Yeah, this is we appreciate the part of the community. Andrew, thoughts about tonight?
I had a blast, and I think to echo what Vij said, and all of you have been saying, is that all our opinions were very varied, but I don't think any of us were made, and it's never intentional, right? But I don't think any of us made anybody else feel like bad or whatever for having a different opinion. It was just more of wow, what a trip. Or maybe I'll revisit that, whether it's like you guys revisiting Give It a Chance, or me revisiting Let's Be Romantic. And even the comments I saw, there were some various different opinions. So that's what it's about. It's about fun. It's about learning and just reminiscing about the past and what the music meant to us. So this is a great way to close Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day weekend to everybody.
Yeah, Joseph said he thought Andrew was going to sing more.
Oh, man. Next time.
Yeah. I mean, it is scary before Stevie comes in. Everyone's talking about the soundtracks. I mean, from Love Jones to Excel to Boomerang, House Party. 90s, I think the success of House Party really opened a door for a lot of these things, and it's New Jack City as well. The soundtracks are just on a different level, but we'll catch those at a different time. But yes, the Return of the Tender Love album was underrated. Stevie, finally,
a lot of gems have been dropped this evening between the four of us. Truly amazing podcast tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm buzzing. Great podcast, guys. And thank you all the viewers for sticking with us tonight. And those of you that are going to watch it back, you probably watch it back, 2 days on, a week's on. Thank you so much for joining us and for 2 hours. I know 2 hours is a long time, when you're enjoying it, it goes so quick. So thank you very much.
Yes. So we'll be back in March with another show, and just keep an eye out for which album that we're going to review. But till then, from Vijay, Andrew, Stevie, and myself,